A lark and her momster are coming your way. Gonna tell it how it is, so won't you join us today? Are you good?
I'm ready.
Okay, good. We're recording. Welcome back to another episode of A Lark and Her Momster.
I always say monster.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Welcome back to another episode of A Lark and Her
Monster.
Okay, there we go. Thank you so much for joining us today. I don't know why I sound so thank you so much for joining us today.
I don't know where that southern accent come from.
Anyway, welcome back. We are going to... I'm tired. I'm going to be very honest. I'm really tired. I started physical therapy about a month ago, and today was the day that we started to work out the muscles that I have not been using due to my surgery. And ow.
It whipped your ass.
It definitely...
Literally.
Yes, it did. My butt hurts.
Yeah.
Really bad. My butt, my hips.
That's what I said. Literally.
Yep. So if I'm a little lackluster today, I do apologize, but I will do my best to keep up. With you? I
guess. Or with the listeners?
Yes. Well, I'm keeping up. That's what matters.
Okay. So, should we talk first about the wine?
Yes, please do.
Because
make me stop.
Make you stop? I will do my best. I've never been able to make you do much, so...
Well, go ahead and talk about the wine.
Anyway, yes, which sadly you still can't drink.
No, I can't.
I'm so upset.
I'm so sorry. Well, okay.
I'm sad for you.
I'll be all right.
I know, but this wine is called Mind and Body Bubbly Rosé, and it delivers flavors of fresh strawberries, complemented by a crisp and refreshing finish, and only 90 calories per glass.
Well, it depends on how much you pour in that glass.
Well, I'm going to try it and tell you if I'm going to be pouring more in this glass.
Okay. Do tell us how it is.
It's okay.
Okay, so she'll stick to the 90 calories is what she's saying.
Yeah, I mean, I find some of those reduced calorie wines are just... I haven't found any that I really like.
Yeah. Just go with the real thing. I do like some of the natural wine or some of the organic wines that are out there. Those are really good.
Yeah. But one's, I mean, it's okay. If you are really trying...
Into rosé.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just wanted to rhyme. It's okay if you're into rosé.
You're so funny. So what is today's podcast about?
So today's podcast is actually your topic that you came up with, but it had to do with something that I did. I had a conversation with you this week that wasn't as tough as I thought it was going to be, but I almost didn't because of my own mind, my mind lying to me. But we're gonna talk about lying and lying to your parents.
Lying
in general.
Just lying in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we titled it after that infamous
lies, tell me sweet little lies. Something I think that's the way it goes, right? Lies, sweet little
No, you don't have the tune right.
Well, whatever. Moving on, at least I sound good. So
well, you do sound good, but that's not
well, that's okay. We'll look it up later. Other people can look it up.
No, that's okay.
So why are you looking it up now?
Because it's not the words, it's the song.
I know, but we can't play it because that would be a copyright infringement. We did play it. We took a little break and we played it. And I wasn't entirely wrong. I just sang it in a different key.
That's right. So, anyway, yeah, we thought that might be kind of fun.
Yeah. So, yes, Sweet Little Lies, which are interesting because why do we tell them? Where does it come from? How do we... What's the difference between lying and manipulation? Where does it stem from?
Well, I think there's... I actually did a deep dive into the internet, and I'll just share the AI version of what came up.
Is this ChatGPT?
No, it's AI.
ChatGPT is AI.
Well, it is, but that's not how it comes up when you do the search. It says
Oh,
AI.
when you okay.
It
Gotcha.
like takes all the information and compiles it into a synopsis.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
So not Chat GPT. I did not use that.
Just the other one.
Just the other one.
Gotcha.
So apparently all children lie, and it starts in early childhood. It comes because even as early as the age of 2 or 3, and it comes because as children's brains are developing, it's creating a development of perspective taking and executive functioning skills. So kids are trying to test the boundaries and trying to figure out, what's real and what's not real when they're young.
Oh, like, how did the vase break? The bird flew into the window.
Yes,
and
exactly.
that's how the vase broke. I never did that one, but I have read there's a book where that happens.
Yeah.
And the lie just gets crazier and crazier. And it's like, well, what did the bird look like? And it was like, it had a really long beak. And it just went off.
Yeah, you
and then at
definitely
the very
get
end,
into lots of creative tale telling.
But yeah, that's definitely something I feel like a kid would lie about. Like, I didn't break it. That was the dog.
Yeah, and it even happens in middle childhood. And when it does, lies become more sophisticated, and kids learn to lie more effectively without being caught. Because obviously, the lie about the bird flying in is not very realistic.
Right, you can get caught with that one.
Since they're...
unless you keep your windows open. In this book, they did not.
That's true. But when kids are in middle childhood, they learn to say, I'm not sure what happened to the vase. I didn't see anything happen to the vase, kind of thing. Because that way they're not...
Technically... lying.
Well, they are.
Yeah.
Because they caused the vase.
True, to break it, yes.
But I think they can kind of psychologically work themselves around it with the hope of not being caught.
That's pretty impressive, actually.
Yeah.
I've worked with some kids before who their lies were so good that it took me like 8 hours later to be like, oh my God. They manipulated the crap out of me and lied to me.
Yeah, and when kids become adolescents, they lie more frequently, and it's often to avoid parental disapproval or to conceal information about their lives.
I feel like that starts really young, though, too. I mean, even as a child, you lie so you don't get in trouble, right? Or you lie so you don't face consequences, or there could be a plethora of reasons why you would lie as a kid. I don't want to get in trouble, so I'm going to lie. And it's really interesting because we all do these little things called white lies. And those aren't much better.
They're not really white.
They're
kind of
like a gray area.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and what this research said is that people lie in general, I think, for a variety of reasons: avoiding punishment or criticism, seeking attention or approval, testing boundaries and seeing what they can get away with, protecting their privacy or independence.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, feeling pressured or uncomfortable with certain situations. And I know you were not necessarily exposed to good examples around that.
No, but I want to speak to the point of protecting privacy or independence. If someone comes up to you and asks you for your number and you are very uncomfortable with that and you don't want to say no because we live in a society that if you say no, there's a very good chance that you're going to get hurt, 1000% give them the wrong number, lie to them.
Yeah.
So there are certain, I think, places and times and spaces where it's okay, if it does protect you. And
yeah, I think that I think when you're in that situation, the best case scenario would be to
kick them in the balls.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or to tell them that you just are not interested. I mean, the truth is always less painful than most people imagine, Yet if you feel unsafe, then do what you got to do to take care of yourself.
Absolutely. Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So what I mentioned about coming by things honestly and the white lies are okay mentality that you were exposed to growing up, it was primarily focused on spending money. So your Gami used to say, I'll get that for you, but don't tell your so-and-so, or don't tell your mom, or, so,
Yep.
and she would do the same thing to me. And then I can remember driving to Santa Barbara on the weekends and stopping at the Starbucks and having to finish the Starbucks and hide the cups
before we got to Santa Barbara.
Right, or hide, throw them away in a plastic bag from someplace else.
Yeah.
Because your stepfather didn't believe in
spending money on coffee,
frivolous things like coffee.
Frivolous coffee.
Even if you're having a 2-hour drive in traffic. So, anyway, so I think you came by that honestly. So maybe share a little bit more about what happened and why we thought about this topic for the podcast.
Yeah, so for me, most of my lives have revolved around finances or money as well, because I didn't want to disappoint you, or disappoint anybody. That's the people pleaser in me. Don't be a people pleaser. So anyway, I lied. It was so stupid. I lied about how much I spent to have a reading done. And
you didn't even lie by much. It was kind of silly.
Yeah, it really was. And
it was the difference of $40.
I know. And I at the time I was like, she'll get upset with you if you tell her that you spent like $100. And
it's your money.
Yeah, well, but I didn't think that was going to be the response. So,
it's your money, it's your bills, it's your debt,
right,
it's your...
But I didn't know that was going to be the response. Like, it's your money, that's your responsibility. I thought I was going to get in trouble, and I think that's just from...
You're a little old to be getting in trouble.
Up. Well, yeah, you're still my mom.
Yeah, but, at the end of the day, when you were little, I used to say you may get in trouble for telling a lie, but you'll get in more trouble. You may get in trouble for doing something wrong, but you'll get in more trouble for telling a lie.
Right.
Is what I used to tell you.
Yes.
That didn't stop you. And over the years...
Well, it didn't stop you.
It didn't stop you. And over the years, I think it was interesting because I always knew when you were lying.
Well, yeah, you got mother's instinct.
I just didn't bother to create more discord or, at the end of the day, it is what it is.
And it's tough. I think it's really important to tell the truth. And that's why I did, because I was like, this is stupid. 2, I don't want to have that kind of relationship with anybody where there's dishonesty, because then it creates a situation where it's like crying wolf, right?
Correct.
So if if I'm telling you something about somebody and you're like, well, I don't believe you because you've also told me this about this person or this about this person. And, people lie in relationships all the time. They lie to their friends about their partners because they don't want their partners to look bad in a certain light. I've done that when in actuality they were bad and all white. So it stems, I think, from not wanting to disappoint people or not wanting to look a certain way. We went through the reasons, but at the end of the day, being honest is going to keep the people around you that are meant to be around you around.
Yeah.
And they're going to be there no matter what. If they're meant to be in your life, they will.
And what this research also shared was how we as parents can respond when our children are lying or when our adult children are lying. And that's to find out the reasons and understand them about why a child is lying, to respond with empathy and understanding rather than punishment, and to focus on fostering open communication and trust, which can help encourage honesty. And I thought I tried to do that when you were young, but I maybe didn't do it well enough.
Well, we can't look back on the past.
No, I just, I always thought that I created an open environment where you could come to me and talk to me about anything. And that didn't seem to happen. So, anyway.
But there's other factors that play into that. It's not just, you, solely you. So there's many different factors. That could be a whole different episode.
Yeah, that might be an interesting episode.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think, I think about the times where...
Do you lie? Have you lied?
Oh, I'm sure in my life I've lied or told less than fully factually.
Well, yeah, we know about the Starbucks thing, but...
Right, exactly. Provided factual information. I think for me, it's less about lying and more about avoiding topics and not discussing things.
Ah, okay.
So it's lying by omission. And if I just didn't bring up a topic, then I didn't have to deal with the discomfort around the discussion specific to the topic.
Interesting.
And that can also not be healthy.
Right.
So if something is bothering you or if you're uncomfortable with something in a relationship, it's important to bring it forward and talk about it.
Yes.
And I think that goes across not just child to parent, but parent to child, adult,
all relationships.
All relationships is that I think challenge to feel safe bringing up difficult topics and then how best to communicate. I think it's the communication piece and not feeling like you're going to be attacked if you bring up something that maybe someone doesn't like.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting, but I do think that having those open and honest discussions, having that communication is so vital to being in a healthy relationship, whether that be with a partner, a parent, a friend, any kind of relationship.
Yeah, yeah. Because lies aren't really sweet.
No, they're bitter and terrible, and I don't know what it feels like to have your mouth washed out with soap, but I bet lies feel like that.
Well, and when you were little, when I was little, that was typical to have your mouth washed out with soap. When you were little, I felt like that was punitive, so I wouldn't have done that.
Right.
But maybe you can change the words in the song to bitter little lies. I don't think it'll quite go the same way, regardless of what...
Lies, bitter little lies. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't think it'll work, but
no.
Yeah, definitely not sweet little lies.
Definitely not sweet little lies. I think the sweet little lies that they're discussing are the ones that are why people cheat in relationships or things like that. But we could dive deeper into the lyrics behind that song.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's about not necessarily why people cheat in relationships, but how they cover up the cheating in the relationship at both ends.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
That is
because
true.
One lie often begets another lie. It's not like you can just tell one lie.
That's what we were talking about earlier. It's like, again, what did the bird look like? Well, it had all of these cool colored feathers, and now you're just creating a story that you're creating a story.
And it becomes a tale.
Fictional,
a tall tale.
A very tall tale.
Tall tale.
Back in the day, back in the medieval times, if you lied to the king, you'd get your tongue cut out. So don't do that. I mean, I'm glad I'm not back there, but...
Well, we're almost back there.
I hope we're not.
We have someone who would like to be king.
Well, that's not going to happen.
So don't lie.
Not on our watch.
But then again,
we
people are lying.
But then again, I think
the only way they feel safe.
Exactly.
And that's sad, but we won't go down that rabbit hole of disinformation.
Yes. I think ultimately the best bet is to be as honest as you possibly can. Again, unless it affects, your safety or your independence, in which case there's a time and a place.
Yeah, like you don't want to tell somebody who's abusive where you're living or where your children are staying.
Right.
You don't want to openly disclose personal information if it's going to, from your past, if it's going to, and again, this is where omission comes in. If it's going to get you onto somebody's radar that could affect your job or your well-being or those kinds of things. But in general, the more honest any of us can be, the more that we can operate from a place of curiosity.
I like that.
From a place of understanding, the more likely we are to have success in our relationships and in our communications.
I think it starts with us because we lie to ourselves all the time.
We do?
Oh, 1,000% people lie to themselves. They will tell them, I'm not good at this when you are good at it. Or I'm not beautiful enough when you are beautiful enough. These are all, they're lies. They're not true. It's not truth.
They're insecurities.
Right.
Wrapped up in sweet little lies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think the more that you can also be honest with yourself, that will help further more honest relationships.
Yeah. Honesty.
It's
internally.
the best policy.
Internal honesty and external honesty.
Yes. It's the best. What was it? Honesty is the best policy.
Honestly, honesty is the best policy.
That's actually pretty catchy. Honestly, honesty is the best policy. Honestly, honesty is the best policy.
Should we start recording that and maybe interject it over Fox News?
Ha ha ha! Oh, seriously.
Seriously.
Yes, guys, make sure you're not being lied to in the media. The media will lie to you.
Oh, God. On both sides.
On both sides. So
Yeah.
please, please, please.
Find the most honest source.
Yes.
Anywhere.
Yes. And just live in a state of honesty with yourself and truthfulness.
And the world.
In the world. Yes. That's all you can do.
That's all any of us can do.
One day at a time.
1 minute at a time.
1 second at a time.
1 nanosecond at a time.
But we really appreciate you listening to this. Did you have any other information?
No, that's it.
Cool.
Just that, kids lie. They do it for reasons. Parents can do a better job in helping kids develop more honest communication skills.
Yeah.
And we all need to be more empathic and understanding.
I agree. And it was really interesting to know that it started that young. I didn't realize it could start that young.
Oh, yeah.
So that was an interesting fact that I learned today. Learn something new every day.
Well, I think when you were little, you had imaginary friends. That's kind of like a lie.
Well, not really, because those kids can see energy differently, so you don't know. It may not have been imaginary, and that could be a whole different episode. So,
what was your imaginary friend's name?
Oh, I had Charlie.
Charlie, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Charlie was
it a girl
not a
or a
lie.
boy?
No, Charlie was a boy.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, not a lie.
Okay.
Charlie was the homie. Yeah, Charlie was with me for quite a while. But that's a different episode.
Yeah, we'll have a whole podcast about Charlie.
But thank you all so much for listening to us. I hope that you are honest with yourself and those around you. And I hope that you know that we love you and we appreciate you. And if you have a topic that you want us to discuss, we would love to hear it. You can send us a message on Apple Podcasts or through our email, larkandmomster@gmail.com, LARKANDMOMSTER@gmail.com.
You did that very well.
Thank you. I did close one of my eyes.
That's important.
Yes.
It helps.
It does help me remember to spell.
Yes.
Well, we appreciate you. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe, and
Share.
yes, and share. Sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring.
But until next time, we are over and out.
Adios.